Go ahead.
Introducing my mother.
Introducing Vickie. She has her own publishing company. She's a writer. She has a major poetry night that's coming up on February 6th. It was packed last time, standing room only. Some people are like, I can't believe it's standing room only. It was close to 100 people in here. So clap it up for Vickie, everybody. Brent-Touray. Her husband is the one that runs the other part of the store. Clap it up.
Hello, everyone. Let me say this quickly. By profession, I'm a teacher.
Yeah, oh.
Now, no, it's okay. So Tiffany says,
hold on. You promote so hard that I forget you have a full-time job.
It's okay. I don't have a full-time job.
Well, but still, I'm saying, I forget.
Okay, so by profession, I'm a teacher. So when she said 5 minutes, I was like, yeah, right. The teacher can't do nothing in 5 minutes except dismiss. You know what I'm saying? That's about all I can do in 5 minutes. But I'm going to try to do it in about 10. The other thing is, I talk really fast. I'm aware of that. But, you know, every now and then I'm reminded, like, for instance, like Martin is doing right now, he's all in my grill. I saw something that he put on YouTube the other day of me. I said, oh, I got to work. Because I haven't seen myself on film in a long time. So if I get too fast, just let me know. Just say, slow down. Trey, slow down.
I'm not the best judge of that.
Okay. How am I doing right now, Mom?
Okay, but I talk fast too, so I might not be the best.
No, you can. Thank you. Okay, so I have like 2 or 3 things that I want to discuss, my notes. But I have 1 or 2 things that Tiffany wanted me to talk to you all about or mention just because of some conversations we had. The first thing is, like I said, I'm a teacher by profession. That's what I do. I'm a language arts teacher. I've done that for over 20 years. However, just recently, I know, right? I'm like 45. You ain't seen it like this, right? Tell the truth. Tell the truth. So, about a year and a half ago, I just decided that I was going to do what I want to do. And what I've always done, and that's writing and literary arts, right? But I decided I don't want to do it for the man no more. I want to do it for me. So my husband and I had a discussion, although he'd been trying to talk me into that for probably about 3 years. I really wasn't feeling that because, you know, I got a master's degree. I put a lot of money into this. But he kept saying, come on, let's just, pretty much, in a nutshell, let's just work together and build our own dreams as opposed to somebody else's. I kept listening to him and listening to him before I started praying about it. I was like, wow. And I started feeling like that is very possible. I didn't tell him that because I know he would have started packing up all my stuff, you know. So I didn't say that. I kept saying, well, let me pray about it and pray about it. So I decided, after much prayer and supplication, meditation, or whatever you want to call it, that I could do that. So I left my job, and at the time I was at APS up until last summer. And I've been there for 5 years before Pontiac and Detroit and all of that. But the long and short of it is, I write, that's what I do. Anytime I write something for someone, they say, oh, this is so good. You should do something with this. So I just kicked all up to the side, walked out, stepped out in faith, and I wrote my first book, which is this one right here. That's a pretty good looking product, right? I did all that. But I'm spending this stuff doing it for APS and DPS and Pontiac School District. You know they wasn't paying me what they should have been paying me for doing stuff like this. And I decided I'm doing it myself. So this is the first book I published. But before I published it, what I did was research and find out, how can I do it myself completely? I don't want to share my copyrights with nobody, right? The whole thing about fame that doesn't get me really, really excited. Of course, we all want money, but just fame doesn't get me extremely excited. I want to do some things for my community, but my point is, I kept thinking if I could just, I don't want to share it with nobody. I don't want nobody to find out 10 years from now that, like the guy said, I'm making 10 cents and you making $35 off something I wrote. I just take the hit and do what I need to do, right? And so then I started my own publishing company after much, much research. So what makes my publishing company different, I'll say this first before I go into the other stuff. What makes it different is I didn't want to share my rights with anybody. So my company is set up in a way that you don't have to share your rights with anybody either. Because I don't keep your copyrights. The only money I make off of you is when you come back to me and say, I need more books, right? I need more books to sell. I say, okay, you can't get them with nobody but me because it's my company. That's how I make money. And then I don't rape you in that either, because that's what companies do if you don't have something for yourself. That's it's capitalism. That's what it is, right? So let me stick to my card. I'm through with the Bow Press LLC. Now I'm moving on to my other notes. So my book is on the table too. You want some good reading? It's back there. Moving right along. Okay, so I got on my sheet, on my card, self-promotion, the grind, and integrity. Because that's something that Tiffany and I talked about. And she talked about the fact that there are a lot of artists here, but they won't really promote themselves. And we kind of got in a deep discussion about that. And I said, she said, what gives you the drive and this and that and this? And I said, well, you know, I believe in what I'm doing. I've been doing the other thing for over 20 years. But that's not my passion or what I want to do what I'm doing. So what I told her was, when I get up in the morning, what's important to me is figuring out ways to get myself out there. If you want to be an artist, and I really feel good about the fact that most of you are younger than I am, because like I said, I've been teaching high school for 20-some years, right? Thank you. So my students have all been 7th through 12th grade, alternative. So I've dealt with a lot of your age for quite some time. And I hate to say this about this particular group, my age group, but this is the truth. A lot of times y'all don't want to work for nothing. You think stuff is easy. You think that, for instance, I had her laughing. I said, because I see a lot of people in this building now that I spend time here. I said, you know, they come in there like they've already arrived, you know. Hopefully I don't hurt nobody, but like for instance, there's a guy that comes in and he's doing, I won't say exactly what he's doing, but the entire time he's doing it, he's saying stuff like, you know, don't get this, I don't want you to get me on NTP, I act like I'm at the Laugh Factory, or, you know, stuff like that. And I said to myself, you need to fill up NTP, or you start talking about Laugh Factory. I mean, you have to move and promote yourself, and then deal with what you got, be grateful for what you have. I'm gonna tell you what I figured out about NTP, and I've only been fooling with NTP and Tiffany since this past summer. But what I realized is this. This is really an opportunity. It's like a hotbed for networking and for cooperation. The kind of stuff I think most artists want to accomplish with big companies and what have you, you really could do it here if you stick together and work together. A network or a co-op is the idea that we pull all our resources. This brother said what he does is printing and what have you, right? We know that. Since you know that, don't go nowhere else looking for printing. This guy's here all the time. Deal with him. You want to publish a book? Why are you trying to come see me? You think I'm going anywhere else about barbecue and brownies? Not that I know Jay do barbecue. No! I'm going to Jay to get barbecue and brownies. It's simple, because if you do that, or if we do that and collaborate together, then we actually grow and grow, and the bigger the network gets, and the bigger the network gets, the more people see you. The more folks spend money on you. So the whole idea of the artist network is a major, I don't think we realize that. But what typically happens, and I can say this because I'm 46, 45, I can say this. I know, right? But what typically happens is, and some of you, maybe you understand this. You know how you get in a place, say you work a job, or let's say job, or a church, some organization, and you meet all these people, and you all have a connection, and you grooving together, and whatever you're doing, whether it's an organization, church, whatever. And anything only lasts for a season. Let's just say you hit it big. Somebody see you stand up in front of NTP on YouTube, and they say, Jesus Christ, I need that guy on my stage. And they find you, right? Then whatever you created here at NTP, that's over with now. You move on to another phase of life. You're going to get to that other phase of life and say, Dad, I miss them days we were at NTP. Just chilling, trying to get this up, trying to get that up. But once you moved on, you can't go back. It's done. That's done with you. On to another phase. You don't ever come back around again. Kind of like we were leaving Atlanta. I told my daughter, she said, I'm going to miss my friends, but I'm glad to go to Michigan. I said, enjoy it, because once you get to Michigan, you will never see all these people in the same room again. It won't ever happen in your life. So take advantage of what you have. So I'm saying to you, there is a lot of talent, gifts, creativity within the people that hang out at MTV. Get what you can from it, give what you can from it, because once you move on, or once they move on, you won't have the opportunity anymore. It'll be gone. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Independence, community. Okay, I dealt with that. Self-promotion. I want to give one example about self-promotion. And I know my daughter mentioned my husband, Tiffany mentioned my husband, but my husband, let me tell you, first of all, he's an African bushman. Let me tell you that, if you don't know him. Straight from the bush. You ain't ever seen nobody handle machete like that brother can, but that's something else. But what I know about him is, he has never worked when he first came to New York, he said he did some dishwashing, that kind of thing, but never really worked a real job with the exception of those 7-8 years it took him to get on his feet. He said, I started my own business when I was 7 years old. You know what he was doing? He said, carrying water in Africa on his head for the women that couldn't carry everything. Or the ones that had the money, he said they were shopping, he said I was carrying their bags and they paid me for it. So the mentality about producing for yourself and being independent is totally different than what I know. Because I come from a household that said go to school, get a degree, so I got 2 or 3 of them. You feel me? But because I didn't really understand the grind and how you gotta make it work every day, every day. He's the only person I know in my life that, because he's a merchant, that's just some of what he does, right? I've never seen anything where a person can, this is what he does on a typical basis, but that's the grind, the mentality I'm talking about, that will order twice the amount of merchandise that you have the money for. I see him do it all the time. And then say, on the phone, send it to me COD. I'm like, wait, he got that kind of money, why you going? Send it to me COD. When he get on the phone, and I know he only have 50% of that money, and it's coming in 2 days, you know what he say? That brother do like this. Time to go to work. Then he leave and start hustling and hustling and hustling. I said, why would you do that? He said, because that's what gives me motivation to get what I need to get. That's a whole different mindset. Now, I ain't saying everybody should do that, because you might end up, put out your house. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying his mentality is, ain't no going back. There is no way to wiggle out of it. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to do it. And that's it. I had a revelation one day, driving home one day. Anybody knows me knows I have horrible, I need my GPS. I've been born and raised in Michigan. If I go on that side, I may not, it's off, right? But one day, I'm going somewhere in Southfield or something like that. I don't remember exactly where it was. But I'm driving, I got lost, completely lost. I was so frustrated. I said some stuff I will not repeat on the stage. As I'm running around, I was so lost. You ever come to the same stop sign from 4 different directions? I was looking, this is like the Twilight Zone. I couldn't figure out how I kept seeing it. I was like, I know I just saw that. Then I'm like, that's the same. Ain't that the same stop? From 4 different directions, I hit a stop sign. I got so mad, I just stopped one day. I said, this is absolutely ridiculous. And then something hit me. Not something hit me. I felt like the universe was speaking to me, the spirit was speaking to me and said, so, is this it? You gonna turn off the car and stay here? Or are you gonna figure out how to get home? And I was like, well, I'm not gonna stay here. I gotta figure out how to get home, right? Right. It's the same way with your business or your vision or whatever. You're gonna get lost, confused, and all that. But if you ain't got no choice, I can't live in the street, right? I probably could, but I don't want to talk about that. If you got to get home, then you just got to get home. So make it happen. Figure out how to get home, or you're going to stay there. You can't survive there. Because if it's your passion that's driving you, it's kind of like home. I'm going home. Some way, one way or another. Either if I have to figure out how to fly or get 2 strings in a can and get somebody coming, I'm going to get home. I'm going to get home. So the point is, it's the same way with your vision and your dream and what have you. If you have determined you're going to get there, then get there. There's no excuse about the rest of the stuff. Oh, well, I was trying to get my business up, but I didn't have all the money. So what? Figure out how to make it happen and get there. Oh, I was trying to, but you know what? I couldn't get over there to meet the people. Well, shame on you, because you should have been there. Now, what you going to do now? You got to get there. Does that make sense? One last thing, and I'm done, and that is integrity. What I have found, because I'm artistic, I come from a family where people, not everybody, but there's a lot of artistic people in my family. But since I left off my job and started doing this, I'm meeting a lot of artistic people. And what I realize is, so many of us have no integrity whatsoever. You tell somebody you're going to be there, be there. If you're going to be late, call them and tell them to be late. But don't do this, because folk with business sense don't want to fool with artists, because you don't have no integrity and you don't have no discipline. That ain't for everybody. That's your size. Don't put it on your foot. But if it's your size, put it on. Right? Artists, that's a big, big deal. They don't, a lot of times, don't have integrity. They don't have discipline. You can be talented up the wazoo, but if can't nobody trust you to get the stuff put out at the right time, it don't matter how much talent talent you got. Because somebody gonna come along with talent and integrity, or talent and their discipline. You got to have the discipline. And not assume that people are just gonna take you at face value. No, they gotta know what you have. And you gotta put it out there and have integrity when you do it. You say you're gonna be there at 8 o'clock, be there at 8 o'clock. Don't make them look for you. 2 days later, they calling you, man, what happened? Oh, man, you know what happened was, don't ever want to hear that. Yeah. Because next time they put on a show, you think they're calling you? No. They're not calling you. No. And you could be the hottest person on stage. Right. They ain't calling you because you may not show up. Right. Does that make sense? I see that a lot, especially for dealing with people that are under 45. Okay, I think that's it. Any questions? Okay. Look excited when you ask me a question.
I can relate to everything that you said.